Okay, everybody, hello. Hello, hello. All right. It is November 4th, 2020, as we wait for election results. We're going to talk emotional recovery. And it's not just about the election, it's just about the year. The year. Hindsight is 2020. And boy, is that really showing to be true. And I think we're going to really know a lot more starting next year about really what this year is all about. So the first thing that I want to do is I really want to thank you all for being here. So my friend Michelle is here, and we have been talking about this a lot, about how we've noticed that a lot of people are going into isolation because it's just been a rough year. And so even when they have an opportunity to learn something to feel better, they don't necessarily take it. So I really want to start off by thanking you for joining in, for taking in this information. And I am going to send you the recording, and it's going to be a public video so you can share it with anybody who you think is struggling, because if they even just pick up one thing for this, maybe it will help them. So we've had quite a year, haven't we? It has been quite a year. So we're dealing with a lot of different things. We're dealing with divisiveness from politics, and it's not just right now. It's actually from the past few elections, because I see things pop up in my Facebook feed from like 12 years ago and 8 years ago. So it's almost like the Hunger Games, where people think that their life's going to be over if one politician or one party wins. And that's really coming out on Facebook, especially the past 2 days. And I've seen some really horrible attacks against people that I know and highly respect for posting things about being in gratitude, and they actually got attacked for actually saying that, for wanting to spread gratitude on social media. So we've got this divisiveness where people are just on edge, and the people who are on edge, I'm not even sure if they really know it. Gosh, for all I know, I could be on edge, but I don't think they really understand or even recognize that they're on edge and they're striking out. And then add in the pandemic. And that came as a surprise. But what is interesting is we actually go through 100-year cycles with pandemics. And gee, the 1918 Spanish flu, we're due. We're due for one. But it came as a surprise. People are losing incomes, they're losing their jobs, they're struggling with their health, they're losing loved ones. People are terrified. And then there's just unrest around the world with riots and protests and innocent people suffering, violence at the hands of people. And then I really focus on kind of the Earth's frequency, the frequency of the universe, and that is dramatically changing. We're in what in the spiritual world we call the Great Awakening. It is a tremendous energy shift that we're in, and that turns things upside down. And when we are already stressed out, it just amplifies it, and it just makes it worse. So, and just to give you an idea, speaking of the Earth's energy, this is today. And I don't know if you know how to read this graph, but on the right side of the screen, all that white and all of those green spikes going from the top down to the bottom, that is the Earth's frequency spiking, and it's been spiking all day. And I posted about this because if anyone has ever questioned that humans have an impact on the Earth as a living entity, that just proves it. And it's proved it over and over and over again to me over the years that I have tracked the Earth's frequencies. So this is actually showing the angst and the unrest and the uncertainty and the anxiety of humanity, because it's not just the US, it's the world watching everything that's going on, and the world is suffering through the pandemic. So, and then this causes a spike in the Earth's frequency, which then we feel, and it's just like a dog chasing its tail, and it just continues. Um, so in the chat, for those of you here for the live, and I won't read your names, but would just love to know, what's your dominant emotion that you're feeling right now? Like, what are you feeling? Type it in the chat, let me know. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the prominent emotions that we have collectively been feeling all year. Because we are feeding off of each other's energies. And I've talked about this in pretty much every single class I have taught this year in 2020, about how we have this collective energy. Everything is energy. We feel it, whether we recognize it or not, whether we believe it or not. We do. I mean, we absolutely pick up other people's energies. So I am seeing all sorts of emotions here, from fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, uncertainty, confusion, resentment. Yep. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. That is what I'm going to be talking about. So, kind of the moral of the story is, if you don't like the energy, if you don't like what you're feeling, like none of us like feeling anxiety and depression and fear and worry. We don't like that, but we can change it. And it starts with us. And if we don't like the energy that is around us in our community, in our country, in our world, it all starts with us, and we can change it. And it really does come down to that quote, be the change that you want to see in the world. So, all right. So I'm going to talk about some of the prominent emotions. So here we go. This was kind of the top one that you all were talking about. And yeah, I'm seeing in the comments, I feel like I'm going to explode. I lost it today with my boss. Yeah. And here's the thing. You're not weird. you're not weird. It is everything that is going on, from the changes in the earth that we feel, the frequency changes, the changes of people around us. I mean, everything, we are being bombarded. And that's why it's called the Great Awakening, because it is meant to wake us up, to get us out of what we were doing. Because I don't know if you would agree with this, but I felt like things were spinning out of control. Everybody was so busy all the time, running around and just so disconnected, that we were literally given a timeout. And it was like Mother Nature said, you are now grounded. Stay at home. You need to sit there for a couple of months and think about your life. And yeah, and it creates a lot of anxiety. And anxiety comes from not being able to control the things that are happening around you. And I know all about this because I am a control management specialist, and I really want to put that on my business card because I think it would catch people's attention. Who else is a control management specialist? So we have to let go of the things that we can't control. So let me ask you this. Can you control, I call it the thing, the pandemic. Can you control it? Mm-mm. Can you control the election results? Nope. Can you control what your cousin thinks about social issues and posts about on Facebook that trigger you? Nope. Can you control that friend that's disowned you because you have a personal belief that triggers them? Can you control that? Nope. But if you hang on to doing so, it will create anxiety because you're trying to control things that you can't. All you can do is control your response to things and control yourself in your little sphere of the world. And you have to let it go. You have to let it go. And this often stores in the stomach. I mean, how many times have you been so anxious you literally got a stomach ache? We see it with little kids. They get anxious about going to school or taking a test, and they wake up, and I mean, they truly have a stomach ache. That's anxiety. Sometimes we feel it in the head. We get a headache, we get a migraine. And so anxiety will create a physical problem in the body. And if we're going to live well in this world, we have to emotionally recover from anxiety. We have to find a way to work with it. And so on the screen, I've given you, and believe me, I could give you a full on list of lots of things, but I just wanted to give you a couple of ideas. So if you have these oils, go grab them right now. Go grab them right now. If you have these crystals, go grab them right now, or you can just grab them later. So the Valor blend, this gives you the courage to let go, because when we are anxious, we have to let go of what's causing the anxiety, because it's our body telling us through our emotions that we are struggling, that we're out of balance. Our emotions tell us exactly how well we are. And so when you're anxious, your emotions are telling you, let go, just stop. Let it go. There's nothing that you can do about it. Valor gives you the courage to let go. All right, I'm going to be snorting oils. I'm going to be vaping oils here as we're talking. The release oil. Yeah, once you have the courage to let it go, the release oil then lets you let it go. And joy is the oil that says, you know what? It's okay to be happy. It is okay to be happy in a world where we live in a pandemic, where people are struggling with their health, where people are struggling financially, people are struggling in their businesses, where people are dying, where people are rioting, people are getting killed. I mean, all of these things are going on. Collectively, our energy makes a difference, and it is super important that we be happy when we can. And joy tells you that it's okay to be happy. And then the crystals I love to use, oh my gosh, sodalite. Sodalite is just this beautiful blue crystal. It is so calming. This is a really, really powerful crystal for anxiety. Blue crystals are really calming and great for anxiety. But I also love apophyllite. Apophyllite is just so gemmy and crystally. And these are specific for anxiety. And if you have either of these crystals, if you have any crystal, lay down and lay it on the part of your body where you feel the anxiety. So if you feel it in your stomach, lay it on your stomach. If you feel it on your head, lay it on your head somewhere and let it work. Let it work for you. So here, I'm going to check the chat, and we're doing good. So when we're dealing with emotions, it is really important that we smell the oil, because it's going to go into the limbic region of the brain, and it's going to work on the neural pathways and start reprogramming and rebalancing and getting us out of these emotional brain loops. And that's what anxiety is. It's a loop. And if we smell it, it'll get us out of it. So these are really, really good oils and good crystals to work with. All right, let's go to the next category: depression, grief, and loneliness. And they all go together. They all go together. So when you think about the thing, we were forced into isolation against our will, and it could be coming again. And so that forced isolation can bring up a lot of emotions. You may have had a lot of emotions that were very deep in you that you didn't even know were there, that started to bubble up during the isolation. And then from the isolation, if you got comfortable with it, You actually could still be isolating. A lot of introverts said to me that they had never been more happy than during the shelter in place orders, because they truly could feel comfortable being an introvert. So that is something to work on. But you may also feel just lifeless and um, feel a lot of suppressed emotions coming up, feel grief coming up. I hear people talk about getting back to normal. They miss how life was. And especially now as we're going into the holidays, I mean, yeah, I got a couple of holiday parties that I'm really going to miss this year because I looked forward to them. I always put them on my calendar and I looked forward to getting together with people. And so this can really result in depression and grief and loneliness where you don't feel that you're able to move forward because you don't know what normal is. And where this stores in the body is in the lungs. Grief stores in the lung meridian. And depression is actually unresolved anger and rage. And I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit. But when we don't resolve anger and rage, it becomes depression. And then all of this can become loneliness because we start to isolate because we just don't feel good. So, like I said, the stores in the lungs, and right now we need to have our lungs be as healthy as possible. So, what you do is you smell these oils, frankincense, white Angelica, or the Hope blend. I'm going to grab Hope. You can apply them where you feel the emotion in your body. So, maybe you feel it in your lungs. You can apply it, but you also want to smell it. Now, frankincense actually energetically clears the grief out of lungs. It is one of the most potent oils to help with grief. The white Angelica blend, where's my white Angelica? This the name says it all. I mean, it is pure angelic energy and it is protective so that you don't feel so lonely and you don't feel the need to isolate yourself. It is a protective oil. You feel safe in the world. And then the hope oil will bring you out of the darkness because, if, we're seeing slowly, more restrictions put in place and it's so easy to go into a dark place, hope will stop you from going into the dark place. And then the crystals that really, really can help are Carnelian, Citrine, and Lepidolite. So I've got Lepidolite here. Lepidolite is it's got mica in it. It's so sparkly. It's purple. I mean, it is a luscious crystal. And Lepidolite, I talk about this in my crystal classes. Lepidolite has lithium in it. It actually has the mineral lithium. And so it is really good for depression because lithium is given to people who have depression. So there is a reason why crystals help in a certain way because of their mineral content. So wherever you feel the depression, the grief, the loneliness, get the oil on those areas, get a crystal on those areas. If you have these, that's awesome. But just put anything on those areas and then be sure to smell the oil. Now let's go to, let's see, hold on, let me check the chat. Holly's asking, please share info about crystals. What sort of info, Holly? Type it in the chat. Let me know what you're looking for. Let's see. Oh, the classes. Yes, I'll talk about that at the end. Please remind me. Please remind me because I have classes coming up in like a couple of weeks or two. All right, let's talk about fear and worry. So these are emotions that are coming from scarcity, like feeling that you don't have enough or that stuff is being taken away from you. So it's from lack. It's from a position of feeling disempowered. It's panic, it's despair. And fear it actually stands for false expectations appearing real. They are not true because fear and worry is always in the future. It right here and now, there is nothing to fear. Like in this moment, I want you to think right now, in this second, everything's perfect. I mean, seriously, Everything in that second is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. When we are fearful and when we are worrying, we are projecting into the future of things that haven't happened and likely won't happen. And so, what do you actually accomplish by being worried and fearful about the future? So, I hear from certain friends where, they say, well, I'm just a natural worrier. Well, okay, then you're just going to destroy yourself from the inside out. I mean, that's just the sad fact. It will. You are traumatizing yourself every time you go into fear and every time you worry, because you're actually not present when you're doing that. But when you're present, you're you're not in the future. You're in the here and now. And in those moments, second by second, snippet by snippet, everything is fine. Well, fear and worry store in the kidneys. And so if you have ever been so fearful and so stressed from worry that you got lower back pain, the energy of those emotions just hit your physical body. A lot of lower back pain is related to fear and worry. So, oils that you can apply, oils that you can smell. The abundance oil. This actually has a frequency to it. It's a lot of ancient oils, but it's got a frequency to it that will shift you to see that everything around you, you have a lot of abundance around you. Even when it looks like everything is crashing and burning. If you've ever worked with tarot cards, it kind of looks like the tower. The tower card is crashing and burning all around us. The abundance oil takes you out of that and it shows you all the good stuff that's happening. It puts you in a frequency of abundance. Abundance has a frequency to it. This will align you to it. That's what I love about these oils, is that they were blended for frequency. They were never blended for scent. You may smell some of these and think, ooh, that's nasty. It's never about the smell, it's about the frequency. And so it's going to shift you into a frequency so that you can see all that's around you. Now, another oil, I actually didn't bring this with me. Another oil that's amazing is surrender, because there are things that are out of our control. Don't give them your energy. Don't worry about them. Because seriously, what is worry going to do? Right now, if you're worried about the election, what is your worry going to do? Is it going to change? Is it going to change the ballot counting? Is it? No. It's not. It's going to make you sick and it's going to make you not sleep. And then that's going to impact your energy that you're going to take out into the world. So, yeah, surrender. Don't give it your energy. When you catch yourself, stop and say, you know what? I'm so focused on the future, I just need to stay in the present. And there's nothing to worry or fear in the present. And then the present time oil. Oh my word, this is such a delicious oil, because when you smell it, everything is perfect in the moment and it puts you in that moment. It puts you in that present moment. It is a great blend for meditating, because I struggle with meditating and it really helps me. And then the crystals that will help you with fear and worry and staying present are black tourmaline. It's super grounding. Celestite. This is a celestial crystal. I mean, just think of, those moments when you're looking at the moon and you're looking at the stars. Like if you looked at the full moon, the blue moon that we had on Halloween this past weekend, if you were looking at it, you're very present. You're very present in that moment. So Celestite does that for you. And then rose quartz is such a loving crystal that you realize there's nothing to fear and there's nothing to worry. There's really nothing to fear and nothing to worry. And if you can stay in those frequencies, then that's going to emanate out from you and it's going to help other people. All right, let me check the chat. Yeah, bingo on the back pain with fear. Yeah, it absolutely. When you really start understanding how emotions store in the body, actually everything that we experience stores at the cellular level. And it's why as we get older, we're kind of dragging around, and we even joke that we have a lot of baggage, and we do, because think of a lifetime. Think of all the years and all the days that you've been on this planet, and everything that you've experienced is stored at the cellular level. Absolutely documented by scientists, it is stored at the cellular level. That's a lot of crap. I mean, it really is a lot. And so these can really help you to start letting that go, and you'll feel lighter. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go to those angry feelings, feeling bitter, feeling intolerant. And we've all been there. This is not judgment. We've all been there. Sometimes we get pushed and we become intolerant, or something just really wears on us and we become really bitter and really angry about it. And these emotions are hot. They are hot, and they create inflammation in the body. And so when I look at these emotions, I mean, hasn't everything just gotten so extreme in recent years? Extreme viewpoints, extreme lashing out at people's viewpoints, extreme judging. This is part of this big energy shift that we're in. It's really, it's squeezing us through a little hole. I mean, it is literally like being birthed, and everybody is screaming. And we're going to get out on the other side, and it's going to be okay. But it's really uncomfortable, and it's creating a lot of extreme emotions. And so I know you're all seeing this, because I'm seeing this where, friends are no longer friends, and family are disowning each other, and marriages are being torn apart from the isolation from the pandemic and from politics. And what I always keep in mind is that we're all on a spiritual journey, and some people are at a different place in the journey, and some people are at a different pace. We're all not going to do this at the same time. And so when I see all of these relationships being torn apart because of the thing and politics, it's like, really? Really? That just, oh my gosh, it just shows how deep these emotions are, and how much anger and bitterness and intolerance there is. So these emotions store in the liver, the gallbladder, and the spleen. And all of these organs are like right in the middle of the body. And so you're going to want to apply your oils there. The forgiveness oil. Forgiveness has a frequency. Absolutely has a frequency to it. And these emotions are poison. And all you're doing is poisoning yourself and poisoning your body. And it will, at some point, create a physical problem if it's not resolved. And so this forgiveness oil is going to help you forgive what other people have done, what situations have happened, but also forgive yourself. Because we know when we lash out, we know when we're not our best, and then we beat ourselves up. So it's really going to help in so many ways. The humility oil, oh my gosh, I love this oil. So, I'm a Leo, I'm a strong personality, so I always need a little humility. And this just keeps you sweet and strong, no matter what is happening around you. Like, seriously, the Tower card, everything could be crashing around me, and I am sitting here snorting my oils and playing with my crystals, and I'm so happy, and I'm staying in a happy place. And that is so important for us to do. And it's not selfish, because you will then share that energy and somebody else will pick it up, and it'll change them. And it's a ripple effect. If you've never studied the butterfly effect, Google it, because this is the butterfly effect. This is what these tools do. Some people think this is a whole bunch of woo-woo nonsense. Well, I study the science of them, and it's not. We're changing the frequency and creating ripple effects all across the planet. So humility keeps you sweet and strong. And that's, I think, what we all want to be, sweet and strong. And then the release oil. Oh my gosh, this is a favorite one. Topically put it over your liver, but smell it. The name says it all. because it will let you let it go, because you don't want to harbor the bitterness or the anger, because it absolutely is like swallowing poison, and you expect the other person to die, but all you're doing is you're killing yourself. And then the crystals, blue lace agate, rose quartz, and rutilated quartz. Oh my gosh, these are so phenomenal for these hot, heated emotions. All right, checking the checking the chat. All right, we're good. All right, last category of emotions: feeling overwhelmed, drained, and numb. You're exhausted, you're fatigued. I mean, how many are just fatigued? You're fatigued from everything that's going on. You are drained from social media. You're numb. You're numb. You may even find yourself scrolling through social media even though you know not to do it. I did that earlier today. I was just collapsed on the couch before I got ready for this, and I started scrolling. And 5 minutes later, I'm like, stop. I don't need to do that. I don't need to see all of this stuff that I don't even know is true. I don't need to see it. But we are on an information overload right now, even when things are really super good on social media, which I'm trying to remember when that may have been. But we're on information overload, and we shut down. It is natural. We shut down, whether it's intentional or not. We feel overwhelmed. And so we start to numb ourselves with binge watching TV, scrolling through social media, excessive drinking, excessive eating. I will admit, Hallmark holiday movies, yep, that's my thing. And I already got them on TV because I'm even threatening to put up my holiday Christmas decorations now, because this is such an overwhelming energy that we're in. And we start to feel defeated, and we start to feel like, well, why bother? Why bother to go to this meeting or go to this class or do this thing or talk to this person or read this book, or, why bother? I'm just so over it. I'm so drained. Like, I'm so numb. Like, I don't even think I can absorb anything. But here's the thing. That energy is then going out into the world, and it's binding together with others who have the same energy. And when that happens, it gets stronger. And this is a predominant energy that I'm sensing right now. People are they're shutting down, and it's not good. It's not good. So when this happens, it stores in the stomach. It stores in the adrenal glands that give you energy, because when you're feeling this, you don't have energy. And our power center, our energy center, is in our stomach. And a lot of times we feel like our power has been taken away from us. But nobody can really take away our power, even in a lockdown, even if you don't agree with the election. No matter what happens, I mean, if you feel that way, you're giving away your power. But no one can take your power away. No one can. So here are the oils. Sacred Mountain. I don't even know if I brought Sacred Mountain here. I don't think I did. I love Sacred Mountain. This is just such a beautiful, beautiful blend. And it helps you to get grounded. Like, imagine going into the mountains, how deeply peaceful and calming it is, and re-energizing. It is incredibly re-energizing, and it dissipates the overwhelm and gets rid of feeling drained and feeling numb. Because when you go into the mountains, when you go into nature, you start to come back to life. And that's what this does. And then layering the acceptance and the hope oil together, one on top of each other. The acceptance oil just helps us to stop pushing against things that we can't change. Because just like with anxiety, if we are constantly fighting and trying to control, and I mean, there are things when we need to speak up and sign a petition and, believe me, I have my days where I'm testifying in front of the legislature and I'm, writing articles and I'm doing this. But it's for the things that I know I can change. The things that we can't change, let it go. Let it go and find another way to go around it. Find another way. And this is where acceptance, you just stop the struggle. You stop the struggle. You stop banging your head against the wall. And the hope, when you blend it with the acceptance, it actually gives you a path of where you see sunlight at the end. And then for that re-energizing energy, clear quartz. Straight up clear quartz. This is the most powerful crystal that just holding it, it is going to double or more your energy field. I mean, it is, you are just going to radiate like a crystal. And so you've probably sensed that like a lot of these emotions are actually rooted in lack of control. So I want to show you a video. And I hope you'll do this with me. So here, hold on a second. I need to pull it up on my computer. Have you ever done tapping? Emotional freedom technique, the tapping? We're gonna do this. This is like a 6.5 minute video, and I want you to do it. And it is from one of my favorite tappers. His name is Brad Yates. He's on YouTube. He's phenomenal. And he just makes it so simple. So I am going to share the screen, and then I need to make sure you're going to hear the sound. All right. Here we go.
I believe that we do create our reality. I also know that few, if any of us, are really confident about that moment to moment, and we often feel like things are out of our control, particularly when we're looking at media, but even in our day-to-day lives. So that loss of control, or fear of loss of control, or a feeling of a lack of control is really uncomfortable. And let's see if we can do something about that discomfort. So taking full responsibility for your own well-being. Even though I feel a lack of control, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel a lack of control, I choose to love and honor myself anyway. Even though I feel a lack of control, all these things are happening, and there's so little I can do about it. And I just have to deal with the consequences. And it's really uncomfortable and really scary sometimes. And even though I feel this lack of control, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who contributes to this feeling. All this lack of control, all this fear of loss of control. I'd really rather be in control. I'd rather be the one at the steering wheel. I'd rather be in charge of everything. And part of me might say, no, I don't. But I don't like feeling this lack of control. Sometimes it feels like being a victim. Things are just happening to me. And I just have to suffer the slings and arrows. And I choose to make things happen. I choose to feel more in control by focusing on the things that I can control and accepting the things that I can't control. All this fear of loss of control, all this need to be upset about that, all this need to be upset about the things I can't control. Because that doesn't put me more in control. The only thing I have control over then is that I'm making myself feel worse. And that takes up too much of my time and energy. I'd rather focus on the things I can control, including allowing myself to feel better. Because whatever's going on right now, I can allow myself to feel more peace. Maybe not a lot more peace, depending on how bad things are, but at least some more peace. And there are other things I have control over. Actions that I can take to make things better. So I'm giving myself permission to focus my time and energy on those things. As the Serenity Prayer goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change or control. The courage and whatever else it's going to take to change and control the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. Allowing myself to feel more peace. Clearing the fears about why I couldn't or shouldn't. Giving myself the freedom to take action where I can. Allowing myself to feel good about the good that I can do. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. And let it go. Thanks for allowing yourself to put your focus on those places where you can make more of a difference, because that benefits the rest of us. Thanks.
All right. What did you all think of that? Tapping is pretty powerful. It is very powerful. And I love to tap with the release oil on my fingertips. Because if you're tapping, you're trying to release something. So that is a very good thing to do. He has hundreds and hundreds of short tapping videos on his YouTube page. You can truly find whatever you need to tap away on his page. I just cannot say enough good things about his technique because he keeps it simple. So keep that in mind. Keep checking out his page and use it because they're short. I mean, they're like 6 to 8 minutes long. All right, so let's see. One last thing I wanted to do, I'm going to share again. I want to do a chakra balancing. Okay, so this is where if you have lavender oil, if you have Divana, or if you have Harmony, Those three absolutely balance all the chakras. Absolutely. Or you can use any oils that you want, or you don't even have to use oils. But if you want to do this, I'm going to talk you through how to smell from the bottle and how to topically apply. But we're going to start with the root chakra, because this is where fear, holly, lavender, divana, and harmony will balance all the chakras instantaneously. I have tested this repeatedly. So lavender, divana, and harmony. So the root chakra, this is where fear and worry sits. And it's where you can feel secure and confidence when you get it balanced. So take an oil. I like to use the present time oil, or a tree oil, like a grounding oil. And what you're going to do is you're going to smell it. Remember, when it's emotional, you always smell it. You're going to smell it, and then you're going to put a drop. Now, where's the root chakra? It's about 3 to 4 inches below the belly button. Okay, so you're going to put a drop of oil there. This is releasing the energy of survival and fear and anxiety, and it's moving you into unity. And as you're smelling the oil, the affirmation that you can say is, I am one with all that is. I'm safe, I'm protected. I'm one with all that is. I'm safe and I'm protected. You can just grab any oil. I'm using present time because it is grounding. It is absolutely grounding, and it'll root you in security. All right, the next one, the sacral chakra. The fear can also store here and stop your energy to go and actually live life. And so in these locations, the chakras actually resonate with color frequencies. And I forgot to mention with the root chakra, it's like a very deep brownish red. And you can actually focus on that in the root chakra. But in the sacral chakra, it's orange. And I like to just envision like a very deep color that just grows, like you're turning a light on and it's just filling the space. For this, because we're dealing with fear and stopping the energy, a floral oil. I mean, I like to smell forgiveness, but a floral oil can pull you out of that fear. And so you're going to smell the oil. And I'm going through it very fast. I would recommend going slower. And then you're going to take a drop and you're going to put it an inch below your belly button. And this is releasing the energy of expectations and move you into appreciation. And the affirmation that you can say is, I am complete within myself. I am complete within myself. And I'd recommend spending, 3 to 5 minutes with each of these chakras. So I'd encourage you to go back and do this. All right. The solar plexus. So this is where anxiety and anger and overwhelm and fatigue can actually zap your energy. And so in this location, focus on a spinning golden light, just filling your stomach with a golden light. And the oils that I like to smell Sacred Mountain because it's very grounding. It's very rooted. Because when you're very connected with nature like that, there's no anxiety, there's no anger, there's no overwhelm, there's no fatigue. You're energized. And so you're going to smell it. And then you're going to put a drop on your stomach, just right on your stomach. And Lori, going back to the sacral, 1 inch below the belly button for the sacral. The root chakra is about 4 inches below the belly button. All right, let's go to the heart chakra. This is where depression and grief stores. All the heartache stores, and it can zap your joy. And so when you focus on this location, focus on the colors pink and green. They're actually polar opposite on the color spectrum because the heart is the center chakra for the entire body. So it's going to go both ways, green and pink. So just fill that area, just envision green and pink, and smell floral oils like joy. But floral oils are happy oils. And when you're done smelling it, you're going to put a drop over the heart. And this is releasing the energy of judgment and heartache and grief. And it moves you into giving, having a giving, compassionate, kind heart. And the affirmation is, I'm enough. I am love. I'm enough. Oh, and I forgot to say the affirmation for the solar plexus. I was getting getting high on the oils here, but that one is I am conscious. I am connected. I'm in control of my actions. All right, let's go to the throat chakra. This is where communication happens. So let's make it compassionate. Let's make it compassionate. And so when you focus on this location, infuse it with blue light. I like to smell the humility oil, or you can smell a floral oil. Because when we speak, it'd be really nice to infuse a little humility with it. And then you can take a drop and actually topically apply it on your throat. And this is going to release the energy of stubbornness and possessiveness, like, I am right, you are wrong. It's going to release that and move you into openness. And so the affirmation is, I express truth with compassion and kindness. I express with compassion and kindness. Because when people say they're speaking their truth and they're angry and they're agitated and being divisive, that's not truth. That's not truth. That's ego. When you are speaking your truth, it is very connected outside of you. And it's always compassionate and kind so that other people can hear it. All right, the third eye. The third eye. So this is where knowing is, so that you know what is best for you and your soul purpose. So the location, focus on like a lilac color, a very like purple white lilac, really growing in your forehead. The oil I like to use is white Angelica. And again, you can use any oil. There are dozens of oils for each of the chakra areas. If you have my oily crystal book, I actually give you a bunch of oils for each chakra in that book. And then you're going to put one drop on your forehead. And this releases the energy of conceit. And it moves you into knowing, like deep knowing in your soul, not ego, like at a soul level. And then the last is your crown. This is connection, because lack of connection actually creates anxiety. When you're connected, you feel guided. And so in this area, just focus on white light all in your brain and in your head, and smell your frankincense oil or a very high vibrational tree oil like Idaho blue spruce, Idaho grand fir, black spruce. Those are very high vibrational tree oils. And then after you smell it, take a drop and put it on your crown. And this is releasing the energy of rebellion and cynicism and moves you into oneness, connectedness, oneness with source energy, whatever that is for you, oneness with everybody else so that you actually connect with people. And so the affirmation is, I am one with all that is. All right, got a question here. Will you share the chakra oils and affirmations? In what way, Holly? You're gonna get this recording, so you'll have this. You can also take a screenshot of it if you'd like. All right. So All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that. So, what do you do right now? One of my favorite sayings is change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. I actually have that on my wall here in my office. So, if you've been upset over the pandemic, what can you do every day to keep yourself healthy? What can you do every day to shift your business? You might need to do something a little bit different. What do you need to do every day to go about your life and live it? Change the way you look at it, and it will change how it looks to you. And if you've been upset over politics, here's what I like to, and sometimes people get mad at me, but I'm like, I really want you to think about this. I want you to think back to when you were 16 years old. Okay. Who was president? I honestly don't remember. I'm going to have to Google it. But I do this for a reason, because I want you to think about what that president or what the politicians in your state, what did they do that impacted your life, positively or negatively? I don't know. And that's kind of my point. Your life, your business, how you go about things is going to go forward no matter what happens. No matter what happens with the pandemic, no matter what happens with the Earth's frequency and the energy shift and politics and the election, because you're in charge of your life. And if you want to give your power away to those things, then that's your choice. And that's what I see people doing. But if you want to take your power back, all you have to do is change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So my humble recommendation, the best step to take towards emotional recovery is to release what you can't control and be proactive in what you can. And what you can control only involves you, and it doesn't involve anybody else. And those are my humble words of advice, with a lot of oils and a lot of crystals. And Rudy sat here the whole flipping time. High five, Rudy. He's like, oh, I like those smelly, oily fingers. All right, questions. What questions do you have? You can unmute yourself, or you can ask in the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and actually stop the recording now. Okay. So for those listening to the recording, thanks for listening.